Hey guys, my name's Brandon Stone. I've known Kevin for, 6 years? About that. Um, yeah, so almost 7 years. I've helped out at Rogers State with the soccer program there. That's how I met him. I've mentored him. I've been a friend to him. Went to his graduation. Um, we're, we go quite a ways back. Um, love him to death as a brother. He called me the other day and said, Brandon, I need you to come talk to my soccer team. Your story changed my life, and I want you to change theirs. So hopefully you guys will get something out of what I have to say today. Um, I used to play soccer when I was younger. I grew up in Brazil. I lived in Brazil for about 10 years. I moved there when I was 8. My dad, who's actually here right now, the guy right there, he was a missionary, and he brought us kids over with him. So that's where I learned to play soccer. You can hit the next button there. The first slide. There. I grew up playing 2v2 on the streets in Brazil, and that's where I fell in love with the sport. We play every single day religiously from 4 to 6. Um, Rain, shine, whatever, we would be out there. A lot of competition. When I first started out, I was terrible. They called me Wooden Legs, Perna de Pau, when I first started out. That was my nickname. But I wanted to get good, and so I practiced against the wall, kicking the ball up against the wall all the time, all day long. And by the time I left that city and before we moved, they were calling me Golden Legs. I'd gotten so good. Next. This is my high school team. I'm on the top right. I played for a American school in Brazil, so it was really small. There were about 12 people in my senior class. If you wanted to be an athlete for that school, you had to play 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, and soccer. So because it was so small. So I love soccer. I kind of like volleyball, hated basketball, but I played all 3. The funny story from my high school team, there was a game we were playing against one of our rivals, and we were down. I was playing up top, and we just needed to score, but the midfield wasn't bringing the ball up. They were just trying to kick it from the back into us, and I didn't have any patience, and I was obsessed with bicycle kicks. So I kept trying to do a fight from, them launching the ball from way in the back. First time I did it, ref was the whistle, foul, dangerous play. I was like, knock that off. My coach is on the sideline. Brandon, what are you doing? Stop that. Second ball comes in. I try it again. Ref goes again. Knock that off. Dangerous play. Third time, I do it again. First yellow card I ever got in my life was from that. Never got my bicycle kick in. Never got my bicycle kick goal. End of story. ... Or not. The following year, we're playing that same exact team on the volleyball court, and there was a ball that came up to the guy next to me. He hits it up and back. Guess what I did? Time for my bicycle kick. I did a big old jump, kicked it, the ball went over the net. The other team was already celebrating, huddled up, because the ball was going up and back. No one thought anyone would ever get to that ball. Ball goes over the net, down next to the point. I jump up and hug my coach. So that was my bicycle kick story. Next. Then I came to the States. This was in OU, University of Oklahoma. They didn't have an actual team at OU, so we just played some club type games. Won some championships. I think there's a trophy there. Yeah. Next. And then in 2004, I was about 23. I was on my way home from work one night, and I was stopped at a red light, and this guy hits me from behind. I didn't even see it coming. Guy runs his car into me. Next. And I don't know how y'all can see, but it crushed my car like a soda can. Good. Next. When my my parents got to the hospital, this is what they saw. I had a list of injuries about this long, but two of the three layers of my descending aorta were torn, and then part of my spine broke off and damaged my spinal cord. And there's my list of injuries that happened to me. So I had 3 broken vertebrae in my back, 9 broken ribs, punctured lungs, damaged spleen, damaged diaphragm, injury to my left shoulder, 2 to 3 layers of my descending aorta were torn. I need to get some water. It also damaged my vocal cord, which is why I'm hoarse all the time. So bear with me. Paralyzed one of my vocal cords, damaged my spinal cord at T11, which is about right here. All my organs got shoved up into my chest and had to be put back in place. Oh, I catch it. Thank you. So that's kind of a picture of my vertebrae. That little bone on the top broke off and damaged my spinal cord. Go ahead. So they had to put some rods in my back. That's an x-ray of my back. And since then, I've had 23 surgeries to date. There's some of my scars. Okay, you can pause there for a minute. So I remember one of my first memories coming to. I remember leaving work, and then I remember seeing a ceiling like this with lights like that, kind of going by, and I was just really confused. I was like, "What's going on?" Because it was just like I blinked, and then next thing I know, there's lights on the ceiling. I didn't really understand what had happened yet, and then I noticed there's some doctors leaning over, and they were wheeling me into surgery, and they said, "Brandon, you've been in a car accident." And I didn't really understand what was going on then. And then I woke up. I remember not being able to feel my legs. And my mom was there, and I remember holding her hand and asking her, "Mom, am I ever going to get to walk again?" And she just looked at me and said, "I don't know." And that I didn't care about walking. I cared about playing soccer. That was the real question. Am I ever going to get to play soccer again? And I've told this story hundreds of times, and I still tear up every single time. Because as you guys probably love the sport, I love the sport. It was my life, and I lost the ability to play. But so the doctors gave me a 95% chance that I would ever walk again. So there's only 5% chance that I would ever walk. So I did a lot of physical therapy. A lot of stretching. I had from the injury, I had bone deposits in my hips that were real painful. So they'd have to get in there and move it all around. It was kind of like someone taking a sledgehammer to your hip over and over and over, or shards of glass and just sticking them in you. But I was able to get up and do a little bit of walking with a walker and leg braces. One of the things that kept me going, has anyone here ever seen the movie Gladiator? Couple? So the guys in Gladiator, every time they would greet each other, they would say the word strength and honor, strength and honor. And it's kind of a common theme in everything they did. And so those are my go ahead to the next one. Those are my crutches. So I put those words on my crutches, and those would help motivate me and push me. And I tried to do everything with strength and everything with honor. And some of y'all know Jake Simpson. He's a coach he played for us. He was a coach for Blitz. Well, that story inspired him so much that he tattooed the word strength and honor to his calf. So mantras, things you can say to yourself, are really important. Whether it be a word, a phrase, an image you think of before a game. Those can really motivate you. And I know, like Coach Larkin likes to say, switch on, switch on. That gets your mind focused, right? So matches are really important. Come up with your own, use someone else's, but have something that you say to yourself that gets you focused in the zone and gets you to motivate yourself and push harder than you normally would. I was able to walk all the way across around the field at RSU with the help of Kevin and his teammates and the girls team pushing me on. But if I would have thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go walk all the way across the field, around the field, I probably wouldn't have done it. But can I walk 10 yards? Yeah, I can go 10 yards. So I went 10 yards and then set another goal. All right, let me just go 10 more. Walked another 10 yards. 10 more. And so whenever you're doing laps, whenever you're running, I used to hate to run just to run. If you put a ball in front of me, I could run all day long. But just to jog, I hated doing that. So if you're running and you feel like lampposts, break that down. All right, just going to make it to the next lamppost. Run to that. Okay, great. Made it. Now, next lamppost. So it's a technique called chunking. You just break things up into smaller pieces. Kevin's to my left. In the picture, that was after I gave a talk to one of the RC teams. Go ahead. Like I said, I was at Kevin's graduation. One of the things he told me, I asked him to give me a recommendation once. And he said, when Brandon comes and talks to your team, he's not just a speaker. He becomes like family. He becomes part of who you are. And I still remember that. And thank him for that. Still to this day, that meant a lot. Go ahead. So I helped RSU get to a national championship with some of the mental skills I've taught them and goal setting and encouragement. Kevin didn't make that. That was before. That was after Kevin's stint, unfortunately. Not to rub it in your face, Kevin, but notice he's not there in the winning team. Not sure the way that was pixelated. Next. Why are these coming in like that? It is on the computer too. Okay, there we go. I've been able to do some fun stuff still, even though I've been in a wheelchair. I got to go to England. The previous picture that was pixelated was at the Man United field, and that's at the Etihad Stadium, the Man City field. Go ahead. Got to go to the World Cup in Russia. Jumped out of a plane in a Superman costume. Got lifted up at a concert, and someone took one of the most awesome pictures I've ever been taken of. Yeah. So the next day, that picture was on their backdrop on their Facebook page. So like it went viral. The news in Austin channel, whatever, came and did a story about it. It was pretty cool. That's the World Cup in Russia. That was the game Brazil versus Switzerland. So who knows who this guy is? Raise your hand. So yeah, I got to meet him in Russia. A friend of mine that I went to Russia with, his childhood friend, was filming a documentary with Ronaldo in Russia. So that's how I was able to meet him. I had dinner with him, and then the next day, my buddy played tennis with him in Russia, and I was there on the net, like from here to here, watching the greatest play tennis. This guy was my childhood idol. He's who you're like, what? Yeah. That's how I felt too. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this really happening? Really cool guy. I even hit a few balls with the tennis racket with him while they were on break. And that's his agent on the far left, and then that's my buddy on the far right. And that's him. Anytime he would go, like this place was like blocked off and was kind of secluded. But as soon as he went out, I mean, there are 20 people lined up to get his autograph. Like, he can't go in public without just being followed by fans. But he's super cool. He always stops, gives autographs, talks to people. So while we were going back to the hotel, we actually hitched a ride with him. I was in my push chair, manual chair. We put that in his trunk. His driver, him, and then me and my buddy and his agent in the back seat. So I'm literally in the car with Ronaldo. Up until then, we haven't said a single thing about soccer. It's just talking about Russia. I didn't want to be that guy, like everybody probably hounds him about soccer, what is this? Just pretend like I've been there before, like no big deal. But I was like, I gotta ask him one soccer question. I was like, Ronaldo, what was your all-time favorite goal? And without hesitation, he was just like, there wasn't one. I was like, what? He's like, goals are like children. Not one goal is more special than the other. And I hated his response at first. It wasn't until a couple years later that I really understood the genius of that. Because he scored goals at the biggest, final of a World Cup. He scored goals at the club level. Well, if you're just scoring one more goal, there's no pressure. You're in the final of a World Cup, regular season game, it's just one more goal. No pressure at all. I was like, that's actually genius. What do y'all think? So here's some life lessons for you that I learned along the way. Hopefully you guys can learn a few things, but focus what you have control over. Let go of what you can't. If you guys get scored on in the first 3 minutes of a game, how many times do you let that just ruin the entire rest of the game? You just get stuck in your head. You get stuck in your head. Your body language goes down. Your shoulders go down. And it's almost like you don't even try anymore. That used to happen to RSU a lot. A lot. And you got to learn to, you know what? I can't do anything about what just happened. Just going to let it go. I can't control what I do next. I can't control my attitude. I can't control my body language. I can't control whether I give up or keep pushing. I can't control whether I'm going to finish this game out with strength and with honor and be able to look myself in the mirror at the end of the game and say, I gave it my all. Chunking, I talked about that whenever you're running long distances. Even in games, just break it up the next 5 minutes, all right? You're tired, just get through the next 5 minutes. 5 more minutes, next thing you know, the game's over. You want to be player of the year? Help the guy next to you be player of the year. You want to be the all-time goal scorer? Help the guy next to you be the all-time goal scorer. The best way to get better is by lifting your teammates up. And remember, this is a team. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's about the group, the collective. There was a game in high school where I kept missing chances in front of goal. And I was just so focused on scoring a goal, and it just wasn't happening. So finally at halftime, my coach comes to me and he says, stop trying to score goals and just play. Just have fun. And guess what? I scored like 4 in the second half. And sometimes we get so focused on the scoreboard or seeing the ball in the back of the net that we forget all of our basics. We forget, oh yeah, I need to breathe. I need to put my knee over the ball. I need to focus on taking shots and not being obsessed with the ball in the back of the net. Can you comment on that one, Kevin? Louder. Okay, next. So this is a little bit of what I just said. It's not about the I, the you, the you, the you. It's about the team. It's about the collective. We need everyone in this room to be good, to win a trophy, to lift a trophy. Guess what? It weighs just the same no matter how many minutes you played on the actual field. That trophy has the same weight when you lift it. But we need everyone to be one. We need people to be able to play against, to build each other up. We need friendly competition. We need people to be lifting each other up and not pushing them down, trying to be better than everyone else. The starters need the non-starters to practice against to get better. And the non-starters, they need the starters to put them in gear and challenge them and make them be better and force them to be better, or else they're staying on the bench. And you can still contribute if you're not on the field, because the guy who is on the field, he needs you yelling for him. He needs you cheering him on. He needs you saying, hey, man behind you. And you can do that from the sideline. Next. So, how would you practice tomorrow if you found out that it would be the last day you're ever going to be able to put on your boots? And how much harder would you fight for every single ball? How much would you enjoy the fact that your lungs and legs were burning and be able to feel that and enjoy it and welcome that? Bring it on. Let's go. Coach, I'm not tired yet. Keep running this. That's all I got for you today, guys.